Welcome to today's Destination Unknown. I'm your host, Alyssa Hall. Well, I decided I wanted to do something this week for this particular video that it pertains to me right now, but as we go along, maybe it will pertain to you. Obviously, at some point in the year, it will. What am I talking about? I'm talking about birthday rituals. My birthday is coming up this week. On Wednesday, I turn 51 years old, so I'm excited to be celebrating that. And I was inspired. I noticed that I was doing a lot of the holidays, how they all clumped together around the Mondays of our September in 2021. And that's what really inspired me to craft together the schedule that we did, doing mostly holiday type focus work for our Monday videos. And then this particular one is a holiday for me this week, but eventually it will be for each one of us as the year goes by. So here's some ideas on what you can do to celebrate. I wore my brand new lashes just for today's filming. Wanted to get myself extra special. That has to do with the self-love section that we'll be getting to talking about here today. So let's dive right into it. What are some birthday rituals and readings that you might want to do when it's your turn as well? And I might do this week. I wanted to start by talking about tarot readings because we do talk about tarot so much here on the channel. And because it is always, one of those, I think of New Year's and birthdays as being one of those times that we kind of, or at least maybe it's me, we look to the tarot as a point of like, let's check in, let's take a look ahead. What am I supposed to have gained from what's behind me? You want that closure to the old year, as well as opening up to the new year. All of those kind of concepts, they apply to me not only just for New Year's, and of course we were talking about the Jewish New Year even before in this month itself, or if you're ascribing to the January 1st New Year of the Gregorian calendar, isn't that the Gregorian? And what else? Well, there's your own personal calendar. Your birthday sets you on a track for a new year. And we all feel this on some level, whether you think of yourself as a metaphysical person or not. Each one of us kind of takes stock at our birthday time, for good or for bad. And we'll talk about that here today, too. So, first and foremost, yes, tarot readings. What are some readings that you might want to do? Well, okay, just like a new year reading, you could do a forecast for each one of the months. So, if I was doing a New Year's Eve reading, I might do January, February, March. And here for myself, I might do one for each of the months going forward, starting from my birthday. But to me, that's a lot. I don't really, if you've been watching on the channel for a while and listening, you know that I'm a proponent of less is more, especially when it comes to tarot cards and tarot reading. And the further out you forecast, the less likely you are to get the message right. Is also, that's just my own personal philosophy. I don't like to read in a typical reading setting. I might only read for about 3 to 6 months ahead ish. When I do a past, present, future kind of reading, which you most certainly could do here for a birthday reading as well, a chronological reading, as I would call that. But if you decide to go ahead and look for an entire year forward, I just give you that caveat. It can be really hard to take one card that's pointing an entire year from now that you're trying to find and ascribe meaning to. So sometimes it's more important maybe just to have those written down. You can reflect upon them later if you choose to journal it. And we've talked a lot about journaling. So what are some other tarot readings you might want to do if you don't want to just do a monthly forecast? To me, that's kind of boring. Another version, which is shorter, but also a shorter reading, but still spans the entire year of time, would be to do a reading for each of or a card pull, I should say, a spread position for each one of the high holidays. So what are the high holidays? We talk about those on the pagans slash older beliefs. Those would start with Yule. So that's the winter solstice. And then you have, let's see, I've got it written down so I don't have to make myself remember on the spot. Yule, Imbolc, we've talked about that on there. That's in February. Ostara, that's the Easter celebration. That's ascribed to Easter in itself, but it belongs time-wise to the spring equinox. Next comes Beltane, that's in May 1st. Then Litha or Litha, I'm not sure how to pronounce that one, but that to me, that's the summer solstice. Then you have Lunasa. We talked about Lunasa here on the channel also. That's in the August, the early August one. We just did Mabon last week. And now what comes next after Mabon? Samhain. It looks like the word Samhain, Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain. And then coming back to Yule again. So you could do a spread position and a card pull for each one of those high holidays so that you can get kind of a flow of what's happening through your year, as opposed to just kind of like this month, this month, this month, which to me seems a little bit over informed, but that's me. Maybe, like I said, I'm less is more, but maybe you want more is more. That's okay too. What other readings could you do if you are going to pare down even further? Yeah, you could do the past, present, future, or you could do the what's leaving my situation, what's coming next, and advice going forward into this new year. Those are shorter 3-card readings. Some other ones I wrote down that might be more applicable at a birthday would be opportunities, guides, and goals. So this kind of is, instead of saying like, what should I be aware of? Tell me what's going to happen, which is very future casting oriented reading. You might just want to be using your reading time to get yourself to creatively think and problem solve. What are some of the opportunities that I might have going forward that I want to be on the watch for? Goals that I have. And yes, as I said, guides. Guides can come in the form of not just people that we meet, mentors that we might have in a job situation or in a personal life situation. Books are also mentors. I love talking about that. And nowadays, we have each other to connect with. So we find all kinds of mentorship in our new community online. Well, not that new, but so yeah, you could do that. What another reading that I wrote down that might be more applicable at a birthday, what you learned in this past year, what you missed. So what did you miss out on? And what's coming next? So that gives you a little bit of future casting, or at least what to be aware of coming forward. But I like this particular reading I included when I was, because there are so many. If you Google birthday tarot reading, you'll see tons of them. There's 5, 7, 9, 11 cards, 20 cards, tons of readings are out there. I just called down a few of the ones that I think are the most appropriate. So they're like they are very narrow focus. They give you a time frame, like what exactly that card's trying to tell you about, but then it opens it back up. It's not trying to prescribe something into the card. So that to me is the perfect question when you're doing a spread like this. All right, so yeah, what did you miss? What did you not see this past year? What should you have been made aware of that before you leave this year behind? What should you pay attention to? Okay, we've got some more stuff to talk about. We've got rituals to talk about as well. I'm going to start talking faster so I can get through all the material in the time that we have. So rituals, the most obviously the one I've talked about when we were talking candle magic back in the spring, the one that most of us have grown up all our lives doing without even thinking about it being candle magic, is blowing out the candles on our birthday cake. Do it, even if it's just a little candle for yourself in a muffin. If you want to buy a muffin, or I don't know, get a ho-ho, whatever, I don't know. But the point is, the ritual, the concept here, as we talked about in candle magic, when you use air, your air, to put out the fire has the potential and the energy. And then by directing that with your breath, your intention, as you make your wish and then blow it out, you send that intention and the energy with the candle of the extinguished flame, carries it, augments that concept, augments that wish, is the idea, so that it can come back to you. And then by eating something sweet, we kind of cement the deal. In a lot of cultures, eating something sweet, especially at a New Year's time or at a birthday, that invites sweetness back into your life. So good things, prosperity, sweet concepts, all of those ideas, however sweetness might apply as a metaphor for your life. So eating sweetness right after that is another good thing. So that's a great ritual, and one that many of us have no problem at all making part of our birthday day itself. I did over the weekend, and I thought about this podcast when I was doing it. It was very special. So other things you can do. So sage, I also wrote down some more burning and candle stuff to talk about along with the candle of the cake and the candle. Sage is something that you can burn to clear. So here we're talking about wishes and directing your wishes, and we'll talk more about that in other ways too. But sometimes we want to get to this birthday setting as a way to really kind of reset ourselves, recharge, reset, let go, expel all the old energy of the past that might be dragging us down, and just focus on what's coming next. And that's when sage can be helpful. Sage and burning sage is thought to help cleanse the atmosphere of yourself, your own energetic awareness, as well as the atmosphere that you inhabit in your home. So, burning sage is a great way to consider cleaning, so to speak, on a metaphysical level. I would say one last thing about sage before we move on. I always tell people if you like using sage, kind of think of it like an antibiotic. So while you have an antibiotic and it's good, it'll wipe out anything bad that you might be feeling or sensing or even just wanting to get rid of preventively. You don't want to stay on it all the time, and you don't want to cleanse yourself, your atmosphere, to the point where it can be too clean, is what I'm trying to say. You can throw out all the good juju along with the bad juju. So be very clear when you're burning sage to say, I welcome that which best serves my highest interest to stay. So that's a way of kind of telling yourself or setting your intention in your space as you're saging so that you don't kind of over sterilize metaphysically your space, is another idea that you may or may not decide to ascribe to. Okay, so what else? I've got another entire page of notes. Okay, so more candle stuff that you can do. If you want to do different kind of candle work, you can try making a list of things that you want to attract and a list of things that you want to be rid of, kind of like we were just saying with the sage and the wishes. You can take those same concepts, put it into writing that directs your intentionality. Even the act of writing is taking your will and your wand and ascribing it into the material, the pentacle. So then by using fire, if you burn the list last, both of the lists you can burn as a way to, again, release those energy, release those thoughts, those intentions into the universe so that they can best manifest and come back to you. Some people would even take it another level. If you want to, what you're ridding yourself of, you might want to use a black candle specifically. If you're looking at the candle magic stuff, you can you'll know that your black is for more banishing or binding rituals, and that the white is for attracting. It's for pureness, and that prosperity can come in with it. Prosperity is usually green. But the point is, what you want to get rid of, what you want to bring in. You could even use colored candles if that helps you as part of your ritual. Building an altar space for that ritual is something that gets talked about a lot, and I've kind of alluded to the concept here. It's up to you whether you decide that you have a dedicated space in your home as your altar, or if you simply create a space for yourself to work in the moment that you're doing either a reading or candle magic. Just be careful with your fire, of course. So speaking of being careful with fire, that takes me to the next one. Sky lanterns. That's another really big ritual and tradition that's been super popular, I'd say, for the last, 25 years. People like to release them at weddings as a celebration, but also during times of the New Year's. So, and some of the sky lanterns, you can even write your wishes or your ideas or what you even want to be rid of. So these can be both like releasing your wish or releasing what you want to be rid of, what you wish to get rid of for yourself again. And sky lanterns, the idea is that you go out, you light your lantern, it goes up in the sky, it gets carried away, and it takes that intention with it, same as your breath does with the fire. My big thing, I don't know, sky lanterns to me, for one thing, they're super kitschy, and for the other, I don't care how much you can tell me that there are biodegradable sky lanterns and all of that. I don't buy it. It just seems like a way of like being super indulgent and trashing up the earth. That's me. I'm sorry. I'm a big downer when it comes to sky lanterns, but if you love them, hey, go for it. I included them here for a reason, even though I'm kind of like wah wah about them. So yeah, but there are some biodegradable, they say. So you could look into that. Okay, that takes me to what I said before about putting on my lashes and doing a little self-love rituals. Self-love is any time that you are doing, well, maybe you are literally self-loving, nothing wrong with the act of making some special time for yourself. But pampering yourself in any way, giving yourself the sense of being luxurious or having somehow taken extra special care of yourself, whether that means a really nice hot bath, a nice meal out, whether that's alone or with friends or family. Again, the idea of eating, so much of our rituals have to do with that satisfaction and the communion that comes from sharing food, sharing cake, sharing those moments together. That is a way to be grateful for those who are in our circle, and that's something I've definitely been thinking about a lot in this past week. And as my birthday comes up, and so, yeah, self-love rituals. So it doesn't matter. Are you alone or with others? You can be either. But yeah, pamper yourself. Eat those sweets. Take those baths. Find your favorite relaxation substance, whether that be having a drink or having a puff, if it's legal where you are, and it is for us here in New Mexico now. So that's another thing. If it helps you to relax, indulge, take care of yourself, feel extra special, and just indulge a little bit. Be good to yourself. We work so hard, and our society prizes overworking ourselves. We really devalue the ability to take care and to self nurture. So build that in. Defy society, right? That's what we're here to do. Us free thinkers. We're metaphysicians. We have open minds. So, okay. Oh, and one more thing you could do. Yeah, go get yourself that indulgent present. Prezzies. Prezzies are the way to go. So if you can, it can be as big or as small monetarily as you are comfortable with. I don't advocate putting yourself in an disadvantageous financial position. Huckleberry agrees as she barks at the truck that's passing by. Anyhow, last thing I want to talk about before we go today, and this is a big one because it is worth talking about, or I wouldn't have included, that's birthday depression. So if you get to all of this and Alyssa's energy about being so happy and taking care of yourself just is not resonating, that's okay. Let me be the first one to admit I have had some birthdays along the way that were super bummers. For me in particular, several of the ones I can remember from my 20s were really not good events. They're not ones I want to remember. I look back and I go, yeah, that was not a happy time in my life. You might be in one of those moments too, and God knows, after the pandemic and everything we've been going through for over a year now, year and a half, be good to yourself. If you just don't feel it in yourself to fully commit to celebrating, then that is another form of self-love and self-care, honoring where you really are and where you're really at. We've had to make a lot of sacrifices. We continue to make a lot of sacrifices as we work our way through this pandemic. And that's extraordinary circumstances that none of us have ever had to live through before. So be kind, be gentle to yourself. If you're not feeling all this wonderful, bubbly energy that I have been, that's okay too. Just give yourself that time. Give yourself the grace to be honest about how you feel and the space until that feeling itself has expressed itself and hopefully taken you to something new. So, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me for my birthday. This was my birthday podcast. I made it all the way to my birthday on my channel. I can't even believe it. That means more to me than I can even express. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you for being part of my life, and let's keep listening.